Hey guys, Samuel Allred here. Welcome back to the Persistence Outdoors podcast. Believe it or not, spring turkey hunting season is just around the corner. And spring turkey hunting season is really a gem. It breaks up what's considered the hunting off season and gives us just another reason to get outside and enjoy the new growth and warmer weather of spring. Spring also is just a good time to actually hunt turkeys. It's during their breeding season, which means male turkeys will be out gobbling their heads off in the early morning, and it makes it a little bit easier for hunters to locate turkeys and actually get after them. As we talk a little bit more about turkey hunting and talk about calling and some of their habits, you'll find that the breeding season is actually the main factor that we take advantage of to hunt turkeys in the spring. Over the next couple weeks, we're going to do kind of a mini series on turkey hunting. We're going to start by talking about today why turkey hunting is just such a great option for new hunters and kind of give you an overview of what turkey hunting looks like. Then we're going to dive into preparing for a turkey hunt, making sure you have everything you need and making sure that you know how to find and scout for turkeys. And then we'll talk about a few different strategies for hunting turkeys and what the hunt itself might look like. Hopefully these episodes will be good resources for anybody who is just getting into turkey hunting or to share with someone that you are going to bring turkey hunting for the first time. If you haven't gone turkey hunting, you should absolutely try it. And if you have gone, turkey hunting is a great opportunity to bring someone new, introduce them to hunting in general, and also just the fun of chasing turkeys. To start us off, I'm going to jump into a story about one of the first turkeys I ever killed. I say one of the first turkeys because I believe this was my first turkey, but I'm having a hard time pinpointing it. And for whatever reason, I can't find the photos of the event. So I don't want to mislead you guys, but I believe this was the first turkey that I ever killed. I didn't get into turkey hunting until I was an adult. When I was younger, I hunted birds. So I did hunt some ducks and pheasants, and then I did go elk hunting, but it wasn't until I moved to Tennessee as an adult that I got into turkey hunting. The first time I went turkey hunting ever, I went with a friend. And we went out in the morning. We got there early. It was the first morning of turkey hunting season. And the first place we went to, we arrived at maybe 4 a.m. It was very early because of those long spring days. And there were already 5 different trucks in the parking area of the place we went to. So we backed out of there. We didn't want to step on other hunters' toes. And we went somewhere else. And we spent that morning calling a little bit, mostly just listening to see if we could hear a gobbler. Nothing really happened that first morning I went turkey hunting. And so I had an experience. I still didn't know how fun turkey hunting was going to be because we really didn't have any interaction with the birds that morning. But it was great to get out and it left me wanting more. At the time, I had a turkey call that I had received as a gift, and it was just a basic pot call. A pot call is a turkey call that has a abrasive surface. It's usually a piece of slate or a piece of glass. And then you use a wooden striker. It's kind of like just a little stick that you scrape across the surface. So you scrape it across the slate or the glass, and it makes a noise that sounds like a turkey. That was about all I had. I also had my shotgun. I had some camo. I thought it was pretty much good to go. By chance, though, I had an opportunity to borrow some decoys from a friend's father-in-law. He happened to have the decoys in the back of his truck. He wasn't going to go turkey hunting for another week or something. And he said, hey, yeah, try and take my decoys and see how it goes. So I went out into the field the next chance I got with these decoys, and it was a hen decoy and a Jake decoy. I want to say the Jake was in some sort of posture like a half strut. And my plan was to set the hen decoy on the ground and then the Jake decoy right behind her. So it looked like the Jake decoy was about to come up and breed the hen. Now, real quick, before we go any further, let me clarify these bird terms that I'm using here. When we're talking about turkey hunting, you're going to hear terms like gobbler, toms, jakes, hens. Those are the main ones. So let me explain what each of those are. First of all, you've got gobblers. Gobblers are just male turkeys that make that classic turkey noise that's known as a gobble. Any turkey that makes this noise is considered a gobbler, and only males make that noise, so it's easy to distinguish the males from the females if you hear one. Toms are adult male turkeys. Adult male turkeys are going to be at least 1.5 years old, maybe 2 years old. They will have grown to their full stature and they will have their full adult plumage. Jakes, on the other hand, are immature male turkeys that are usually around 1 year old and no older than 2 years old. They have a little bit different plumage than an adult tom turkey, and often they have a shorter beard, the little feathers that grow right out of their chest, and they usually don't have spurs, which are claws that grow from their feet. If your hand was a turkey foot, the spur would grow from where the heel of your hand is. And those spurs grow longer and longer as the turkey gets older and older. So jakes, usually you can identify them by their shorter beards, and then if you shoot one, you'll find out that they only have little nubs for spurs. Hens are female turkeys. We usually talk about hens as a group. You can break them down into immature hens, which are jennies, but usually we just talk about hens because oftentimes we can only hunt gobblers, male turkeys. Poults are baby turkeys. So if you ever hear someone reference a poult, they're just talking about the turkey equivalent of a chick. Okay, so let's get back to the story. So the reason why this decoy layout with the hen looking like a receptive hen and the Jake standing over it works is because the Jakes aren't actually mature enough to breed these hens and actually reproduce. And so when other male turkeys see this going on, it makes them mad at the Jakes and makes them want to come in and fight the Jakes and scare them off. And if you have a mature tom turkey come in, they can likely fight off that Jake and take the hen for themselves. So that was my plan. I felt pretty good about it. I knew of a place that I had seen turkeys before. So I looked at this place on a map and I decided that that was my best opportunity. There was a stream around a field edge with some tall hardwood trees. And to get to this high field, I had to walk about a mile in. A mile doesn't sound like that far, but depending on where you are, that might be a further distance than most people will walk, to be completely honest. Here in Idaho, it feels like you have to walk a mile to get anywhere. But in Tennessee, on those smaller plots of land that I was hunting, a mile was actually pretty far in compared to other places that people might hunt. So having to walk in a mile made it more likely that I would be able to hunt birds that didn't have as many other people hunting them, and therefore make it a little bit easier for me to get close. I got up super early, maybe around 3 a.m., so that I could drive about 45 minutes down to the place that I wanted to hunt, and then hike in and set up my decoys before it got light. Turkeys have very, very good vision. So often when you're setting up a decoy spread, you want to get in and set it up before it's light so that they can't see you. And you want to sneak in and get comfortable and have everything set up. So once the sun comes up and they start coming down from their roosts, the trees that they slept in overnight, you'll be still and waiting for them to come approach your decoys. I was able to do this just fine. I walked in the dark with my headlamp. I set up the decoys about 20 yards away from where I was sitting in the bushes. And then I waited for about 45 minutes until the sun started to come up. That morning, I don't remember if I heard any gobbles as the sun was coming up. Oftentimes, you'll be sitting out there and you'll just hear a distant turkey fire off, and it will make that distinct gobbling noise. And it's always a great sign and a motivational boost when you hear a turkey gobble when you're hunting them, right? And oftentimes, you'll even pick up and go after that turkey that you hear gobble. I can't remember if I heard any gobbles that morning, but soon after the sun came up, I was looking down this field, and it was a pretty big field. It was one of these fields that the state rents out to landowners, and then the landowners will grow a crop on them, something like corn or soybeans, and then they'll harvest the crop, and then in the fall, it's still public land for hunters to go out and use. So it's a good deal. It's kind of a neat way to get some ag land access for hunters. Well, at the edge of this field, nearly 300 yards away, I see some birds. And they're black and they look like crows. I'm thinking, what are crows doing in this field? It's interesting to see them just sitting out in the middle of the field. There's maybe half a dozen of them. I wonder what they're doing. I grabbed my binoculars and still it was too hard to see, so I'm sitting there still just waiting to see if I'll find any turkeys in this field. Well, the birds that I think are crows start walking towards me. And I had called a few times. I made just a few yelps with my pot call, just kirk, 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 right? Just a few yelps to let them know I was there. And these birds heard it and were walking towards me. As they get closer, I realize these are not crows, these are turkeys. And they landed in a completely different part of the field than I was hoping or expecting. Just being a new turkey hunter, I didn't know exactly where to set up. But they had heard my call and from across the field likely seen my decoys as well. And they were coming my way. At this point, I'm getting excited. I was hardly an hour into the day, and birds were already coming my way. And quite honestly, this was the easiest hunt I had ever had to date. I had been on so many duck hunts as a kid where we would go out and get up early and then just sit and freeze our butts off and not have any birds come in. I had gone on elk hunts where I went and hiked 11 miles in a day and not seen any elk. And so it felt insane to be sitting here watching birds come to me, and all I was doing was sitting there and waiting. It just felt a little surreal, and it was a great feeling. It was super fun. I had never seen any animal come in from that far away to calls or decoys, even duck hunting. So it was really quite an experience. As they head towards me and get closer, I lose sight of them. I believe there were 4 or 5 heading my way at first, but I lose sight of them behind a roll in the field. And for a couple minutes, I can't see where they are. So I'm sitting there, heart pounding, hoping that they're still coming my way, but I've lost sight of them, and I just don't know what's going to happen next. When I lost sight of them, they were still pretty far away. So I didn't know where they were going to pop out, or if they were going to pop out, or if they had just decided to go somewhere else. Soon enough, though, I see 3 heads bopping over the hill. That's the best way I can describe it. It's kind of like that jerky walk that a chicken has. And at this point, I can tell for sure that they're turkeys, and I can identify that there's 3 jakes coming into my setup. So jakes are immature male turkeys, right? And one of their strategies for territorial dominance is to group up. Jake groups remind me of boy bands. They're immature males grouping together to increase their value, right? Just like a boy band, you have a couple awkward, immature teens who group together because they're not good enough on their own, but together they are something of value to all the ladies, right? Just like a group of jakes. Jakes have kind of awkward voices, Just like how in a boy band, each of their voices might not be that great until after years and years of practice, they get better and go on to have successful solo careers. Jake's can sound a little bit awkward and they don't sound like a full-grown Tom. They also do all this fighting and posturing and they're trying to look better than each other. I call it peacocking, where male animals are trying to look attractive to attract a mate, right? It's just like boy bands. Maybe a slightly better analogy would be a gang of young men, but I like to think of them like boy bands, and it helps to explain some of what Jakes do. So these Jakes had presumably heard my calling. My yelps sounded like a female hen turkey. And then as they got closer, presumably they saw the hen with the Jake standing over it. And what they thought is, we're going to go beat this turkey up. He has no business in our field. It's 3 against 1. We're going to give him a licking. So they come bopping in and they start running as they get closer. And they go straight for the male turkey decoy. And one of the turkeys jumps on my decoy and knocks it over. And when my decoy falls over, all of the 3 Jakes scatter a little bit, like they're expecting my decoy to put up a fight. But of course, my decoy just fell over. At this point, the 3 Jakes are about 20 yards from me, which is well within shotgun range. I'm able to see on their chests just a little bit of beard feather, which indicates that they are legal turkeys in the unit that I was hunting. And so I raise up my gun, put the bead on one of the turkeys' heads, and pull the trigger. As quickly as it had started, it all came to a stop. The other 2 turkeys took a running jump and flew off down the field. I didn't see where they went. I stood up quickly and ran out to where I had shot the turkey. And it was on the ground. It was still moving quite a lot. I had made a good shot. I had hit it in the head and neck. And so its head was down, but it was still on the ground kicking. This is actually a pretty common thing when you're hunting turkeys, for them to still be kicking. It's a little bit disconcerting the first time you see it, so do be warned. But likely, if you've made a good headshot and its head is down, it's just dumping energy as it's dying quickly. You do want to watch out though and make sure that it doesn't run away on you. So I went out, put my boot on its neck, made sure that it wasn't going anywhere, and after a minute or so, it stopped moving. All of this took place by 6:45 a.m. in the morning. It was super exciting. There was so much packed into just 15 minutes or so, maybe even less, between me first seeing those turkeys and them coming in from all the way across the field. And I was super excited about this Jake. It wasn't a big old Tom, but I wasn't worried about that. It was a legal bird. It was my first turkey, and the hunt had been amazing. The hunt actually went so fast that I did have a moment after taking the shot where I thought, man, I wish that had lasted a little bit longer. But overall, I was thrilled, and I picked up my turkey, picked up my decoys, and started walking back to my car. So that's the story of my first turkey. I believe I field dressed that bird and plucked it out near where I had shot it because I didn't have any place to pluck it at home. I honestly don't remember what I did with the turkey after that. I know I ate it, but I can't remember how I cooked it or anything like that. But after that hunt, I was hooked. Now, that experience actually made turkey hunting seem way too easy. And I've gone out many times since with the same confidence and come back empty-handed. But there are some characteristics of turkey hunting that make it a little bit less intense than other types of hunting and make it a great opportunity for new hunters. Before we get into that, if you enjoy this podcast and you want to help more people get outdoors and into hunting, please take a moment to rate this podcast 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening on. It will help the show grow, and I truly appreciate your support. All right, so why is turkey hunting such a great way to get into hunting or to introduce someone to hunting? Well, to start off, turkey hunting is very accessible. If you have turkeys in your area, you're likely aware of them. They often live near people. You don't necessarily have to hike a very long way to find turkeys a lot of the time. Turkeys often run in flocks, so it's easy to locate them because you'll see a lot of them together. And another aspect of accessibility is that you often have lots of opportunities to hunt turkeys. Many states that have a spring turkey hunting season will also have a fall turkey hunting season. And being able to hunt the birds in the spring and the fall allows you to gain more knowledge about their behavior, and having this additional knowledge and being able to use it and apply it more throughout the year will make you a better turkey hunter and make you more successful overall. Turkey hunting also doesn't have to be a great long expedition. For elk hunts, for example, people will carve out 10 days, 14 days to go hunt elk. But with turkey hunting, you can get it done in a day, maybe in a morning. You can go out and hunt before work, or you can hunt a couple mornings on the weekends. And it doesn't have to be this week-long thing where you're taking off time to go out and hunt and kill a turkey. You can take off time if you want to, and maybe you're looking for a certain bird or you want to go hunt in a certain place. But for most people, turkey hunting can be a lot more casual than other hunting like big game hunting. Turkeys also tend to be active in nice weather, which is a bit of a welcome shift in relation to other animals. Often when you're duck hunting, for example, you're waiting for a cold front to push the birds around. Same thing with deer hunting. A cold front will get deer up on their feet. But with either of those, you go out and you're sitting and trying to be still, and you're just freezing your butt off in very cold weather. And it can be pretty challenging and pretty miserable sometimes. With turkey hunting, you can have a beautiful day and still go out and enjoy turkey activity. Turkeys also aren't that big, so it feels like a lower stakes hunt. If you go out and you accidentally miss a turkey or you blow a setup for whatever reason, a turkey sees you, it's not the end of the world if that turkey gets away, and you'll likely have another opportunity. They're also easy to clean and break down. A lot of people are intimidated by the thought of, what do I do with the animal after I kill it? And rightly so, because we want to use that meat in a way that is appropriate for what we're doing, right? With the turkey, it's not that big, so you can deal with it easily as a single person. And if you've ever roasted a chicken before or done anything with other types of birds, a turkey is going to be a lot more familiar than, say, butchering a deer for the very first time. What else? Well, there's no scent factor. When you're getting out and learning to be safe with your gun, learning to read sign, learning to find animals, it can be especially challenged when you add the whole layer of scent on top of this. Animals like deer or bears have incredible senses of smell, and you could go out hunting and not see anything just because you have your wind blowing to the animals. So you could be in the right place, you could be being quiet, you could have the right equipment, all of these things, but if you mess up your scent, you might not even see any animals at all. Turkeys don't have that refined sense of smell that deer and other animals do. And they're a much more visual creature. So in a way, we as humans, also being visual, can understand how turkeys perceive the world in a much better way than we can understand how deer or bears or other animals perceive the world. So with turkey hunting, you have an opportunity to practice and hone your hunting skills without that added layer of complexity. A few more here. Depending on your unit, there's a good chance that you will have a higher success rate turkey hunting than with other big game hunting. In areas that I've hunted before, it was something like every 1 in 3 days, on average, a hunter would kill a turkey. So for every 3 days that a hunter hunted, they would likely kill one turkey. That's a pretty good success rate. That's really encouraging and fun. And also, having more opportunities to actually pull the trigger will help you become more consistent and learn to manage your nerves and your stress and make good shots in that moment of truth. And then after the hunt, you'll start learning how to field dress animals and take care of meat. And all of those skills will transfer to other hunts in the future. Now, the last reason why turkey hunting is great for new hunters is that all you need is a shotgun, and it doesn't really have to be a special shotgun. Larger gauges, like 12 gauges, tend to be preferred because they can deliver a larger payload and therefore give you further effective ranges. But if you have a shotgun, a 12 gauge, a 20 gauge, even a 410, you can hunt turkeys, and you might just adjust the ranges at which you take shots depending on the load that you use for each of those different gauges. We'll get more into this in the upcoming episodes. For now, it's just important to remember that if you've got a shotgun, you can go turkey hunting. All right, well, that's about it for this episode. I can't stress enough that turkey hunting is just so much fun. If you're interested in turkey hunting, start thinking about it now. Think about places you can go, keep an eye out for turkeys, and start preparing for it now so you can make the most of it during your hunting season. One tip I do have for you is that if you're going to buy a turkey call, buy it now so that you have some time to practice. What I would do is go look for some YouTube videos on how to call with your type of turkey call and just start practicing in the car. I wouldn't do it around your family because it will annoy them to no end. Practice in the car instead and start doing it as much as possible so that when turkey season comes around, you will feel confident making noise. Sometimes it is hard to make noise and kind of bust up the silence when you're out there, but turkeys do it all the time. And if you want to call turkeys effectively, you have to do it too. We'll talk a little bit about calling basics in the next episode. I'm by no means an expert caller, but I think I can set you on the right track. And again, there's always YouTube videos that can go very in-depth with the technique and help you get ready for the turkey season. Next week's episode will be about preparing for your turkey hunt, what you need to bring, shotgun load selection, scouting and calling basics, things like that. Everything you need to know to be prepared to go out turkey hunting. One other thing that's on my mind, just have to throw this in here. If you're planning on a spring bear hunt, on a spot and stock spring bear hunt, now is the time to get in shape. It's less than 3 months out to prime bear hunting season, and your body usually needs about 3 months to start making adaptations. So if you're planning to go out and hike steep mountains in Idaho or Montana or other Western states, now is the time to start walking, hiking, rucking with a backpack, doing some squats to get in shape and prepare yourself for the intensity of that hunt. I just wanted to add that as a reminder. That's all I've got for today, though. So start practicing your turkey calling, and I'll catch you next week.